Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Show, your source for market intelligence, forecasts, and success strategies. Hello, I'm Michael Bull. Thanks for joining us on one of the radio stations around the country, iTunes, YouTube, commercialrealestateshow.com, or wherever you're watching or listening. Well, today our show is called Associations That Matter, Shake Hands with Decision Makers. Now, if you belong to some associations and you're involved with them, you know the value to your business. And I always recommend people asking me advice for their career and their business. If you're involved in a special sector of real estate or you're involved in real estate at all, you want to understand the associations and how you can benefit from them, how your clients can benefit from them, how your tenants can benefit from them, and your investors. So I'm excited about this show. Well, our first guest is Brian Harnetiaux, and Brian is BOMA's Chair and Chief Elected Officer, Building Owners and Managers Association, BOMA. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Michael, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, we appreciate talking to you, Brian, and I think a lot of people understand what BOMA is, but maybe they don't. BOMA is a huge organization, isn't it?
Yes, it's one of the larger real estate organizations in the world. We're made up of 91 local U.S. associations, which covers pretty much every major market across the United States. And now we have 18 international affiliates. So we are worldwide now and covering everyone around the globe.
And who are your members, Brian?
So our members range from really anyone who's just beginning their career in commercial real estate, from the young leader all the way up to the owner of a building. So property managers, asset managers, owners, pretty much everyone that's involved. Even engineers and service providers as well.
Right. So what are some of the benefits? I mean, I own some buildings myself. So what are some of the benefits of BOMA for a building owner like myself?
There's so many. My career has definitely been enhanced by my membership to BOMA. I'll focus on just three quickly. One is our advocacy. We are known on Capitol Hill and at the state level as the real estate go-to organization for advocacy. A lot of legislators look to us for advice and guidance when they're writing bills. And then we're also on Capitol Hill, helping shape legislation that comes down the pipe that, maybe needs some reworking or understanding on how it works in the real world. Secondly, we are known for our best practices in the industry and our being on the forefront of market trends. Best practices, we have our BOMA measurement standard, which pretty much every major building uses the BOMA measurement standard to measure their buildings and make sure that they're measuring them accurately. And the last thing I'll talk about is the BOMA network. Our BOMA network, my BOMA network now is worldwide. My company that I work for, we look to invest in properties across the United States, and I can call pretty much every market now with a contact in that market and get market knowledge in that market that otherwise I wouldn't have. So it's just it's amazing the friends and the network you make by being a member.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's about the relationships, right, and about the knowledge, about the contacts. And as we started the show, we talked about shake hands with decision makers. So what not a better place than BOMA to do that. And then you talked about advocacy. So what about the 1031 exchange? I mean, can you guys tell the government, hey, leave that alone. We need that for the economy?
We do our best to educate and have the legislators use us as a resource, and we do. We're successful in shaping legislation. It's the 1031. It's going to be determined with the new president and new legislation coming in. So we'll be on Capitol Hill talking about it and educating the legislators on how it affects the industry.
Okay. And Brian, you have an incredible website there at BOMA. What are some of the resources available for members?
We have some of the best education available for our members. And what I take pride in is, I always say it's real-time education. So it's pertinent to what's going on in the industry today. We have, webinars. We have our conference, which I'll talk about in a little bit. is just the education, and it's really from anyone from getting into the industry. We have a foundations class that is kind of a beginner level education, all the way up to asset manager courses and beyond. So our education is just top notch. And then one of the other resources that we're working on right now that's really getting enhanced is our research capability. In the industry right now, there's a trend to fit more people into less space. So the densification is and how it affects owners of buildings and operations of buildings and on the elevators and HVAC systems. And so we've come up with kind of a checklist for owners to use. So our research capability is awesome right now.
Yeah, I think that's so important today with all the technology and all the things changing in the corporate environment for the users of these buildings. So many things are so more important, seem more important, with sustainability and with wellness. So probably not a better time to be involved in BOMA to really stay on top of these things, right?
Absolutely. And you hit on something really important. Wellness is it's the trend right now for tenants, for owners. It's providing a work environment where people can be successful health-wise and business-wise. Companies are looking to have their business in a place where it helps them keep their talent in their company as well as attract new talent. And wellness is the trend that the new workforce is looking for. They really want that. I actually have a property in Costa Mesa that we're working on, and we're installing a fitness loop around the property. Mm-hmm. And it's specifically for that reason. We want there to be a definitely workplace for you, but also something that you can enjoy where you work, and there's some health benefits to it.
Right. We're talking with Brian Harnetiaux about BOMA, Building Owners and Managers Association. And Brian, you mentioned training, and I think that's one of the biggest things in commercial real estate that really sets the professionals apart, that they're continually getting training. So tell us briefly about some of the training. Can you do training online, and can you train someone from vendors to property owners to leasing to management? What do you have?
Yeah, I think in your career you need to always be training. If you're not learning something new each day, you're not on top of what you should be doing. So
yeah, you're getting behind if you're not learning.
Exactly. BOMA is we have online webinar classes that are real time. What's happening today and keeping you in front of things. And I use the training a lot for just what should I do in this situation, or even call someone that's a member of BOMA that maybe has been confronted with dogs in their building, or how you handle that best way. There's so many trends in the commercial real estate industry, so dynamic that BOMA people look to BOMA as kind of what are the best practices and how do I handle that to make my job easier and make sure I'm doing things the right way.
Right. And you have some big events coming up, right? So you've got your International Conference and Expo in Nashville. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I look forward to our international conference every year. This year it's in Nashville, which is, I think, extra special. I've actually visited the conference facility over the summer, and there was 29 cranes in the sky. So Nashville is booming. Yeah. So we're excited to be there. Our conference, has some of the best education. We have education tracks for kind of each level of person and certain desires that they want to focus on at the conference with just amazing speakers. Our keynote speaker every year is someone that is very well known, and I look forward to that speech each year. And then we have a trade show as part of our conference that it's very large with hundreds of service provider booths, and we have a technology pavilion there, and so I really enjoy walking that trade show and seeing what the new inventions are, what's going to help make commercial real estate, what's going to take it to the next level, what's going to make our jobs easier each day. So it's just something that I walk up and down that trade show and learn so much about what's coming down the pipe in our industry.
Right, and this convention is June 24th and 27th, so it's 3 days. And I think one of the things that building owners like to have is great vendors. So when you're dealing with a vendor from BOMA, do you have any kind of feeling that, hey, maybe you've got the right folks?
Yeah, commercial real estate is really about relationships. And so the service providers that are members of BOMA, they're the best. mean, the relationships you build, the confidence you have in them, you know they're going to be reputable. You know they're going to, look out for your best interests. I mean, I have lifelong friends that are my service providers that, call me out of the blue and say, hey, this is a new technology we're creating. We'd like to implement it in your building. And it really makes you on the forefront of what's happening in real estate and being in front of the curve.
All right, so it's BOMA.org, right, Brian?
Absolutely.
Brian, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you. It's really been a pleasure, and I really appreciate the time.
Well, stay tuned. We'll have more on associations that matter. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out CREshow.com.